Good morning, everyone. It is Friday the 10th of December. Good to be chatting to you again just before the weekend. One of the readings we had this morning was from the book of the Old Testament prophet Haggai. Haggai chapter 1 and verses 1 through to 15. And it struck me in the words that Haggai was giving here, he was talking about how the opulence of the people had increased in a time of relative freedom and peace, and their own houses had been developed and well developed, and one does not begrudge that. But, said Haggai, this was the issue. The people had neglected the temple. So they were living in wonderful houses, paneled with wood, but the temple, the house of God, as it were, was left undeveloped and underdeveloped. And Haggai said God had been challenging him, and he was now sharing these words with the people. It was time, he said, for the temple to be restored and built back to its splendor. He said the people cannot live in wonderful luxury while God's house is left. It is a sign of dishonor against God. And that for me was quite a powerful message, and it got me thinking, having been now 30 plus years working in the church and seeing numerous churches, those that I have had the pleasure of ministering in, but others that I have had to visit as an archdeacon. And I discover that very often the church is neglected. What was once a magnificent building has fallen into decay. There's painting that needs to be done. That is such a common feature. Little repair work, fascia boards and gutters that are broken or falling down and just left hanging. This is the church of God. And the people live in wonderful luxury with air conditioning and very fancy big TVs, etc., etc., etc. And it got to me. And I thought, I don't begrudge someone who earns a decent salary to live in a decent house. I think that's fair. I do not have a problem with that. And if their TV is bigger than mine, I do not have a problem with that. But you cannot do that to the neglect of the church to which you belong. And when we talk about the church, we're not just talking about the altar linen. I've so often seen people come and they are very proud. They're doing their bit for the church, and it's wonderful. They donate yet another set of altar linen. And some churches have the most wonderful altar linen. But the gutters are falling down and the fascia boards are cracked and broken and the painting needs to be done. And I'm like, doesn't quite balance out. And of course, it's not just the church building itself and the altar linen or the communion vessels, all those fascia boards and gutters, etc. What about the minister that is employed effectively by you to minister to you day in and day out, 24/7? And she lives in a house that has broken gutters and fascia boards falling down, etc. Good need of a paint. The carpets need to be redone. And so for me, I just felt God saying, he's not expecting each individual. If this speaks to you, he's not expecting you to build the house and build the church. He's expecting you to become part of a group, part of a team. You all give your little bit, and when everyone is responsible and gives the right little bit, then actually there's quite a lot. That's the beauty of being in a group and a church. And of course, the bigger the church, maybe the bigger the needs, but it's less onerous on you. So really the message is take seriously the house of God. It's not a house of God because that's where he lives. He's not limited to that, but it's a sign of honor to your God, to my God, our God, how we treat his church and the people who work in the church. And even for me here in the diocesan office, so much could be done, but it can't because we don't have the funds. And I'm not asking for something special, but I'm just saying, let us honor God in the way we treat the buildings that we use for worship and offices and the people that we employ to work on our behalf with and for God to teach and train and encourage us. So a timely reminder, I thought, from the book of the prophet Haggai. Folks, have a wonderful weekend and we'll chat again on Tuesday. God bless.